Today, I will give you just one easy task to experience the experiment by yourself. Try not to think of a white bear. So, what are you thinking about? Probably the white bear, right? Yes, the cursed bear will come to your mind every minute from now on. When tasking yourself not to think of a white bear, pretty much all you're going to do is think about a white bear. But is there a way to control your thoughts? And is suppressing thoughts a good strategy to avoid painful and unwanted thoughts? In 1994, Daniel Wigner conducted an experiment to prove the rebound of suppressed thoughts. Therefore, he asked subjects not to think about a white bear for a span of 5 minutes, while verbalizing their stream of consciousness. Every time a white bear came to their mind, they were supposed to ring a bell. Despite the explicit instructions to avoid it, the participants thought of a white bear more than once per minute, on average. For the next 5 minutes, the subjects were asked to explicitly think about a white bear. At that point, the participants thought of a white bear almost twice as often as the control group, who had been told from the beginning to think of a white bear. The results suggested that suppressing the thoughts for the first 5 minutes caused it to rebound even more prominently into the participants' minds later. But why does our brain bring up unwanted thoughts? Wigner developed his theory of ironic processes to explain why it's so hard to tamp down unwanted thoughts. He found evidence that when we try not to think of something, one part of our mind does avoid the forbidden thoughts, but another part checks in every so often to make sure the thought is not coming up. Therefore, ironically brings it to mind. So, what can you extract from this experiment? Besides the silly fun situation of telling someone not to think of something and he has to think exactly of it, the ironic process theory might be very dangerous if it comes to serious thoughts you want to suppress. That might be a meeting or a test situation you are nervous about. But by thinking of not being nervous, you only make yourself more nervous. For serious mental health issues such as anxiety and depression, suppressing thoughts can be very dangerous since they come up later with even more force. So the answer to the question of if suppressing thought is a good strategy to avoid painful and unwanted thoughts is no. Wigner found that when discussing his research, the question he got the most often was, "But what can I do about this? How can I stop unwanted thoughts?" The topic rings true for many people, perhaps especially because the thoughts that we often want to avoid are not as innocuous as white bears. They might involve painful memories or other difficult distractions. The following strategy can help you process your painful thoughts instead of suppressing them. Pick an absorbing distractor and focus on that instead. In one study, Wigner and his colleagues asked participants to think of a red Volkswagen instead of a white bear. They found that giving the participants a replacement thought to focus on helped them to avoid the unwanted white bear. Choose whatever you want, a blue dolphin, or something else that makes you happy. And you can immediately switch your focus when that white bear, aka unwanted thought, pops up. So when the thought "don't get nervous" comes to mind, instead tell yourself, "I am so excited, this is going to go great." Remember, there's no way to avoid white bears from appearing, but the blue dolphin ensures that it doesn't stick around for long. Try to postpone the thought. Some research has found that asking people to simply set aside half an hour a day for worrying allows them to avoid worrying during the rest of the day. And it allows you to spend this half an hour explicitly to find solutions for your worries. So next time an unwanted thought comes up, just try to tell yourself, I'm not going to think about that until next Wednesday. Avoid multitasking. One study found that people under increased mental load show an increase in the availability of thoughts of that, one of the great unwanted thoughts for most people. Exposure. If you allow yourself to think in controlled ways of the things that you want to avoid, then it will be less likely to pop back into your thoughts at other times. Feel the feelings. Think the thoughts. And tell yourself, that's just a thought and you are not your thoughts. This is just one strategy of meditation and mindfulness. There's a lot more you can experience. Follow the link in the description box to find out more about mental health and mindfulness. Thanks for watching. Please consider subscribing if you haven't yet, and I hope to see you in the next video.